All right, I think it's already 3 p.m. and a very warm welcome to those who have joined and those who are joining in. I think it's going to be a very interesting next 30 minutes, and I will be your host for the next 30 minutes. So just a quick introduction. I'm Aniket. I lead corporate development and M&A at Shadowfax. And I have with me Praharsh.
Hi everyone.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. So Aniket, thanks for the introduction. I think we can carry on from there. We lost you slightly in between.
Yes. Great. So, coming quickly to an introduction of Shadowfax, I think for the uninitiated, just a quick introduction. So, we are a last mile focused delivery tech platform. For our rider partners, we are one app for all companies that they want to deliver for. On the enterprise side, for our customers, we help large enterprises outsource last mile delivery tasks. So that's what we do. We work with almost everyone in the e-commerce space, and probably we'll cover a bit about what we do in the course of the discussion today. A little bit about BizTalk. This is a monthly event that we do where we spend some time talking about what are the latest trends in last mile delivery and with respect to tech, with respect to innovation that's going on. What are the latest trends that we are observing in the e-commerce industry and last mile delivery, all of that, and it hopefully shares some useful business insights into Shadowfax and into the industry. So that's what this talk is all about. The topic specifically for today is the SuperApp, and I mean, we're really thrilled to be talking about this. And it's India's first delivery super app, and which we launched a while back. And we have some interesting findings and interesting experiences to share about it. So diving right into it, and before we dive into the discussion, if there are any questions from people who are attending the call, I think feel free to shoot in the comment section. So we are live for the same reason that we want to answer any questions which might arise out of the discussion, and we will be happy to take them towards the end. So we'll keep around 5 minutes in the end to kind of take up as many questions as possible. So please feel free to not wait for the last 5 minutes, but shoot your questions during the discussion. Now, coming to, so now diving right into it, the first delivery super app of India. And Praharsh, I mean, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. What was the vision behind creating such a platform, and how does it tie with the larger vision of Shadowfax?
Thank you so much, Aniket, for the introduction, and I'll also jump straight into the questions. So the super app is a fairly interesting concept from our perspective, and definitely we feel like it's going to be pretty amazing for the folks out there. If you look at delivery as an industry, it has almost 1 million active people who come on the platform on variety of platforms on a daily basis. And if you were to talk about how many people actually make some form of a living through it, it easily crosses 1 crore over a year period. So looking up at a lot of people who are involved here, and this is one of those areas which is scaling exponentially. Only time will tell where this finishes, but over the next 3, 4, 5 years, we're going to see a huge influx of such kind of opportunities coming in for people. And that was in some ways the origin of us thinking about it more and more, because it will easily be the largest jobs provider in some sense over a period of time. And what we felt was, there were 2, 3 things which we can see are a problem right now and are even becoming more of a pain point from multiple folds, right? And one is there are simply too many delivery platforms out there in the market today. So that was one key aspect that we at least observed. We ourselves are integrated with 100 plus brands. And apart from that, there are multiple other direct to delivery partner opportunities available as well. So if I am a delivery boy, I want to work in the delivery industry right now, I might not be getting tagged to the best opportunity that is available for me. So that's one major problem. The other problem is that most of these opportunities are constrained in one way or the other. And that's because the demand patterns in each of the respective category brands will not or might not be exactly what I as a delivery partner am looking for, right? So I might be having to work in a morning shift and then suddenly coming back in the evening again because I couldn't find the relevant opportunity for me in the intertwining period. And that's happening more and more. More people are spending more hours working, but making less and less money at the end of it. If you would be aware, and a lot of people would be aware of the e-commerce industry, right? Majority people actually make their earnings in a 2-month period, which is September, October, because that's where majority of the incentives are getting rolled out and so on and so forth. So that was the second problem. And this kind of tags into the third point I want to mention, and that's on information asymmetry. As a partner, there are partners who are more aware of it. As a partner, I don't know if I can work nearest to my place. What are the opportunities available near to my place? If they're available, can I work, just using a cycle or something? Or do I definitely need to have a bike? Or is there an opportunity available at 5 a.m. in the morning because that's the only time I can go out for a part-time job and so on and so forth. There is an array of information headpoints which are kind of asymmetric between the clients and the partners. And look, being in the middle of all of it felt like it's something that we should definitely try to solve for. And that's sort of the origin, right? And I've already given some numbers in the scale of the problem itself and what it is going to become. So we felt like it's something that should be sorted out, and the SuperApp is sort of that product which tries to connect all of the dots in between and give people on both ends of the spectrum the best experience for moving forward. And that's in some essence, the origin of all of this.
Great. I think if I were to sum that up, I think information asymmetry and maximizing earnings for a rider partner in the limited time that they have to work, they want to work in a day. I think these are the key things which are the vision behind the SuperApp. So coming to specifically the SuperApp and the launch, and because there was already an app earlier which used to operate. So what are the key differences in terms of features? What are the key new interesting features of the app that make it a SuperApp?
No, that's an interesting one. So we already had an app, and if you look at it, a lot of people have a delivery quote unquote app. It's not like the app itself, which is there, was something which is completely out of the box, right? Most people have a delivery app, but the key difference here is that what we had before was exactly that. It was a delivery app, so it had all the elements for a person to do their job with Shadowfax, similar to how some other company would be having an app for a person to do a job with that respective company. The key difference that you immediately observe on this particular app is that it opens up the playing field. It's not like you're working only with a Shadowfax. If you open the app, you will immediately see opportunities across the board. You can link yourself up to with any company. There will be a different pay card for that respective company. You can choose when and which slots you want to book. You will see that the slots itself are available across the working hours of the day, right? So you'll have slots starting from 5 a.m. and these are 4-hour small slots, right? So it'll be starting from 4 a.m. right up till 1 a.m. in the night. And you can actually, the first time, pretty easily move across variety of categories without anybody asking you to do your KYCs and any other documentation, right? So the earlier app enabled delivery. This enables you to have more power at your hand, move between players, move between slots, choose your working hour. It even is allowing for some control on the kind of payout streams you would want to be working on, and so on and so forth. So that's change number one. The other thing is that there have been significant changes on the onboarding flow. And for the first time, I think you can work within an hour of deciding to work in the delivery industry. So it's a huge power in that sense, right? Within an hour, you can get access to each and every delivery player out there and start working in any kind of category that you might want to be working on. That's the second one. And the last one is on upskilling. So a lot of these delivery jobs, some of them require certain additional amount of skill sets. So the app tries to build a partner's journey as they go on the platform. So some of the key changes which are very different, but yeah, the first one, and it's basically on the whole essence of what the app is. It's not just a delivery app anymore. It's it's a platform where you get more power to choose where you're working and when you're working.
Great. I think, yeah, that also, I mean, just again to sum it up, like if the slots are starting at 4 a.m. and ending at 1 a.m., it actually opens up infinite earning opportunities for the partners, and also to work to maximize across the kind of deliveries that they want to do, which they would need to probably individually sign up with other platforms and wait for the entire onboarding process and everything, which they can do very, very seamlessly within the duration of a day on a single platform. So I think that's
Exactly.
that.
What you would also observe, Aniket, is that majority of the companies define exactly when you have to come. So they say that you have to come at 8 o'clock, and then you're going to make so and so amount of money. And that's what we also used to do. We would tell a person that, hey, you have to come at 8 o'clock, and then you have to work for 4 hours here, and then you have to come at 12 o'clock there, and so on and so forth. This changes that in the core essence of it. This actually takes away that factor. We try to use our own technological prowess to try to match supply and demand in that sense, while giving more power to a partner to make that choice.
Yeah, that's even more interesting. Yeah,
So they don't actually have to work say 8 a.m. and then suddenly, because they didn't have any other work opportunity in between, the company told them to come in at 8 p.m. in the evening. Now it's a very inconvenient sort of a work arrangement. You have to come at 8 a.m. and then come at 8 p.m. So addresses that and makes it more open, sort of saying.
Yeah, it's a more of a paradigm shift towards complete flexibility. I think that's more about it. Great. I think that's quite interesting. So I mean, what would be more interesting to hear is what has been the initial response. What have been the initial vibes? What are we hearing from riders in terms of the sentiments, and any feedback from our partners as well, in terms of our clients as well? Yeah.
No, a very interesting one. I'd love to answer that. And instead of first getting into what people are telling, because I can always give you details which might or might not be true, right? But just starting off with a number which kind of talks about how big of an initiative this is, and how strong a traction we're seeing, is that we took 3 to 4 years to reach 1 million downloads. We've reached another million in a month or 2 months at max, right? So that coincides with the period when all of our efforts started to convert it into a super app, right? So the traction that we're seeing, that itself talks about the immense response we're getting from the partner community on the whole. But just some of the things that we've at least heard is that it's much more convenient to get onboarded. There are a lot of kinks that are still being figured out, but as a whole, what we've gathered is that the onboarding experience is pretty excellent. Immediately, we've had more number of people work cross category. That number itself has gone up by 4 to 5 times than whatever it was before. People are booking slots, and as more people are realizing the power of booking multi-category slots, right? Working grocery in the morning and then doing e-commerce after that, more and more people are actually taking up that opportunity. And on an average, a person who is organizing their slots in their preferential manner, they're making 20%, 25% more income as well. So that's one thing which people have spoken about. I think we also simplified the payouts as part of the Super App initiative. That's yielding a significantly improved earnings for the partners who are working there. I think a lot of partners would also be aware. Some of them are making upwards 10,000 a week with the new initiative. So a lot of positive traction there. On the client and businesses side, I have not seen more excited faces there beforehand, because one of the core problems in the industry is how do you get a fungible demand, right? A demand which can peak when you need it. Most industries face this problem, that they're doing X volumes and they have to go to 2X, 3X in a short span of time. There's a client we worked with in this peak season in hyperlocal, where we did a 3.5 times volume than what we were doing just before October. And 3.5 times in hyperlocal is an unheard of story. Right? E-commerce still is possible because you distribute the orders for a longer duration, but in hyperlocal you have to deliver it in an hour. And then you expect us to do 3.5 times more volumes. That was only possible because the app allowed for a lot of people working in different domains to come and support the client or the business who were, having that massive sales. So tremendous traction on the client side as well. I think from here, what's needed moving forward is to just iron out all kinks that would be there on both sides. How do you make this information available to more and more partners in the industry so that they can leverage it to the full scope possible. And then, of course, having even stronger integrations with the clients so that they can also leverage this whole product in its full potential.
Great. And I think diving a bit deeper into the flexibility and the flex capabilities of the platform. I think and that's a very interesting problem for when it comes to our customers, right? And as you said that e-commerce will peak during the sale times, during especially in the year during this October November period. Groceries will peak in the first 10 days of the month. Food peaks daily during lunch and dinner slots, for example. So how will this app actually enable us to manage, and in fact our clients to actually manage these kind of peaks on the platform?
Yeah, so it removes a lot of boundaries in between clients. So from a supply and partner perspective, if I traditionally work in food, right, I would come during the lunchtime, and then there will be a sort of a lull in between. Now, what happens is, say there is an e-commerce client who is speaking at that point in time. The app gives me a flexibility to move this resource who has been working on food to work for a 4 hour, 5 hour period in the e-commerce entity and then come back and work on food. So it sounds like a very simple statement, but there is a huge amount of backend that you have to do. You need to have that resource trained and enabled to do such an activity because he's shifting from a food to an e-commerce, and there is a bit of a learning that goes in with that, right? So the app enables an upskilling option where a person is able to get quickly trained about whatever new work is choosing. B, the app shows such information very cleanly. So say as a person, I would see such slots available on a regular basis, but during peak times, when the clients are also giving out surges in the market, that slot will be shown as a higher surge initiative as well, which means me spending time there will make me more money than at any point in time before. And over the course of a month, 2 months, a year, every day there is some client who will be running some form of a search. The fact that I know about it in itself gives me the power to book that slot and then go and work there. Instead of somebody coming to me and saying that, hey, there is some higher payout going on there, why don't you go and work? And then I go there, I register there, I download another app, and then get the same benefit which I can now anyways get on the same app, right? So the app makes all of these activities pretty seamless. So in some ways, it breaks down all those walls that you have in between. And most importantly, and that was the difference again, previous app, there was a lot of manual intervention happening when you would make the change from our end as well. As it stands, the app well and truly does it on its own. We don't really intervene in a lot of stuff where it manages it on its own. From the client perspective, it's all about them letting us know two things. What's the search they need? Where do they need it? And sorry, I'll add one more thing on it. That is, what kind of a search are they comfortable giving out to attract more talent for that period? And with these three things, we just put it out on the app, and then rest happens pretty much automatically. So.
Great. So I think that's what we basically mean when we talk about upselling on the platform. I think that's where it's a fair marketplace where anyone who is willing to actually pay more and they have that kind of a requirement, they can actually tap into the supply base very seamlessly. And I think that's what we exactly mean by upselling. That's quite interesting.
That sense, we use on marketplace is quite valid. In a sense, the partners were there and the delivery partners were there on the platform. They are our customers, and the demand side is also our customers. So it just now moved more and more into the domain where we just throw out an opportunity which the client side demand is giving and show it to the customers from our delivery partner side, and then try to marry it in the best way possible.
Awesome. So I think that brings me to the tech side of things, right? I mean, let's talk a little bit about that. We are known, traditionally for being pioneers in the last mile delivery tech in whatever segments that we have worked in, whether it is food, whether it's grocery or e-commerce. So in terms of the tech capabilities in the backend that we were able to integrate into the offering of the super app, what is the latest technology that has been used, and how does it also gel into the entire landscape today of people offering 15 minutes kind of deliveries of groceries and having mobile phones as an option of express delivery, right? So how does that all gel together in terms of the tech side of things?
Yeah, so I think again, an interesting one here. See, again, like I said, it might sound simple, but what is essentially happening is that the platform has been created to give the right opportunity to the right individual at the right time to allow for maximum earnings and demand matching. Now, it's the statement in itself is not very complicated, right? You're trying to get right number of people in the right place so that they can work. But when you think more about it, what the platform is doing, and I'll just do it through a quick thought exercise, perhaps, right? And maybe we're sitting here in a place like Kormangla. What's happening is that at every instant, there are orders coming from thousands of places here, right? And within the locality, basis that order pattern, there are a lot of working slots which will get generated. In some categories, the slots will get generated at during the afternoons more often than not. In some categories, it will be during the evenings more often than not. And then using all of that information that comes in, what ends up happening is that you create a roster saying that, okay, this is what the demand pattern looks like in this locality, and this is what the slot options should be there so that your demand is essentially met. And then you have to marry this data to a person who is skilled in certain categories and certain types of model management, right? So if there is a person who's usually very good in grocery deliveries, they need to be tagged to demand which and slots which manage that. If there's a person who's good in e-commerce, they need to be tied into that. And then there are a set of people who are, kind of super delivery partners who are good in multiple categories and skills. They are the ones who then go and fill in the holes, where what's happening is if your core base is filled up a particular demand to a level, but there's still something left, who fills it up? And those are the people who are actually multi-skilled. They need to come in and then fill up the rest. And then you're still left with something. So you need to have a capability to upskill someone very quickly so that whatever is the differential in places, you can meet that. And where do you meet it from? You meet it from places where you have an oversupply. So this is a quick flow of what happens in the app. And as you can imagine, there is a tremendous amount of AI, ML, which goes into making all of this on a real-time basis. You cannot have a person saying that, hey, I'm sitting in the e-commerce hub. I can see that there are 2 less delivery boys. Can you send? I cannot call all the delivery boys nearby and ask them to come here. I need to help the person who's sitting there to get such a resource automatically to the right level, and then come and quickly upskill themselves so that they are able to give a good return rate as well. Otherwise, there is a lag which goes into training the individual as well. So this whole matching itself is a huge exercise on data processing. A lot of data sciences has gone into building this. So that is one of the first things, in fact, I would talk about when we look at this. And then there is this whole thing about upskilling and training someone on the platform itself and measuring if that's working out or not, right? So if a person A has been upskilled or not, whether the information dissemination happened properly or not, what kind of a score is the person achieving, and then basis actual practical orders, what kind of performance are they giving or not. That's again something which is completely being done on the platform itself and being measured again on the platform. So just some small examples of what's changed from a tech perspective and what kind of sciences are involved behind it. And then, of course, the whole order management life cycle of it is another part of it. When you're moving a resource across multiple categories, you need to manage that particular order in a manner such that the person is able to come back by the time they have to go somewhere else. You cannot give them a long duration order and then expect them to be coming back, right? And when this is happening for millions of orders, you can imagine, or you can only imagine the processing engines power that's needed to make this whole ship running, right? So that's just a sneak peek into what's happening in the background when you and I are talking about it in very simplistic terms. The of it is a pretty hardcore machine which is enabling all of it. So I guess that's the largest
Yeah, I think somewhat, I mean, just a little more, perspective on this to help our viewers connect. I think when you order, I mean, when we order food and we actually have seen food come to us within 30 minutes or 20 minutes, and that entire, and let's say in a location like a Kormangla, right, where if you walk the street, you will see so many delivery partners doing different kinds of things, either waiting or they're carrying orders, etc. And right, and the entire allocation of an order to a rider happens within seconds for us, and that's the amount of automation that is there. And you have to consider factors like whether the rider is close enough, whether to the order, to the source of the order, whether they're available or doing an order, etc., etc. How long will the trip be, etc. So I think that's a whole lot of AIML which goes into it, and to enabling this allocation in seconds, right?
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
true. And you're talking about, say, a 10-minute, 15-minute delivery, and you have to do that while ensuring that the delivery partner never travels at an average speed more than 15 kilometer per hour. So that's the number which goes in. Very few people actually know about it. The general theory is that you assume that a person will be moving at 45, 50, 60 kilometer an hour. The algorithms keep it at 15 kilometers an hour. That's the speed that you keep there, and then you have to find the right person for it. Otherwise, you don't give that promise to the customer at all, and that's how the whole back end of it works. You need sufficient densities at every place as well. So there's a lot of work that happens, and it's a fairly, you know from a data mine perspective, it's fairly interesting to see once you actually go into the details of what all is happening in the back end.
Yeah, I think that while there's a lot of conversation in the industry about how is it possible to do 15 minutes, etc., and riders like going mad through the streets, I think that while that vision is there, I think this is very crucial, because a lot of time of the delivery time of the order is actually behind preparing, picking, packing, and handing over the order, right? Which is not considered. The delivery time actually is quiet. I mean, we always keep these kind of severe guardrails to ensure that there is no concern to the safety of riders. I think that's very important, which you pointed out.
See, basically, if you can do if a 10-minute delivery can even happen through electric vehicles, which are capped at a maximum speed of 25 kilometer an hour, and that's how you benchmark all of these things.
Yeah, so I think we are coming to the close of time. So I think I'll quickly take up one or two more questions. So one is in terms of when you're first in the industry about anything. I mean, you really have to you have to have that belief of execution and everything. And I think that was there. But what was the a little bit about the effort and everything that which went in terms of research, in terms of execution behind the release, and how long was it? Just a little bit about that.
Yeah, so see, if I were to talk about the core motivation, then to be very honest, at least for me and for most of the folks who've been working on the problem statement, it's to do with our partners, the delivery partners at heart, right? They are core to the business. A lot of these things that we've discussed on app, etc., they kind of help support the ecosystem. But what we essentially want to do is create a complete ecosystem of tools, technologies which can improve, ease, simplify the day-to-day workings of a delivery partner in a lot of ways. And I will be honest to say that there is a long way to go to make that vision a complete reality. But at the core of it, always lies the delivery partner, and the app is intended for it to become a platform where a person can do not just delivery, but they can actually interact and get resolved a lot of aspects which come into their day-to-day lives, right? Which is to do with insurances, safety, anything else which they feel are relevant in their ecosystem, upskilling, training, so that they can take up further jobs as they go along in their career, and so on and so forth, right? And that was in some ways the core motivation, the thought that led to the creation of the app itself. And of course, post that, you need to have a core group of folks here who innovate. And I think the team has done a tremendous job to build something which is fairly interesting in the market, and dare I say, the first of its kind. We've not seen such a platform before, and the fact that we will cross 1 crore plus delivery partners active on a daily basis soon, I think it's the need of the hour as well. So a lot of innovation and ideation has gone into thinking about it. I think the app itself is quite exciting, but I'm even more excited on what this app will look like in a year from now. So a lot of things there.
Looking forward. I think yes. I think I'll pick up a couple of questions from the audience. I think the first one, which I think is very important to our very relevant to our entire set of rider partners. Do we have the option of sticking to the old rate card in the current version of the app? So maybe a quick response on that, which would be helpful for rider partners.
So far as the payout is concerned, the way we try to always do it is whenever there is some new payout which comes out, we never give it as an option that you simply have to select. And that's something one area which I feel we are a little bit differentiated from everybody else. The payout, the new payout, if I were to say so, came out with an option to select. We're calling the new payout the sizzling deal, the sizzling payout. And it's not like if I am a partner, if I have a little bit of doubt about it, I can always choose to not select it. And you can always choose to continue working in the old payout that you have. But I would just say that looking at the numbers, I would recommend that that it seems like the people who are on the sizzling deal are making maybe more. But I leave that for the people to decide because it's an open field. People can choose which clients they want to work with and which clients they want to get the sizzling payout for or the old payout for. So that option remains.
I think that's a good hint to our riders as to what they should be doing. So I think, but they are the best judge. Last question, I think, and it's quite interesting again. How is this super app different from other global super apps that we've heard of, like a Gojek or a WeChat or a Alipay? How is this different? Yeah.
So an interesting question, Aniket. So if you look at a Gojek or any app in the ilk, they are essentially a customer side super app. So as a customer, I can get a variety of services on it. If I want, I can get a food delivered, I can get spa services, I can get telephone bills paid, and so on and so forth. So I can get it's in a sense an ecosystem which solves for the customer side of issues. And every category that you see on it is essentially doing that. So if you and I were to go to Indonesia anytime soon, that's what we will open up for a lot of our service requirements, right? But this app at the core, like I said, is designed more from the service personnel who go into making all of this happen. So you have a super app for the consumer, but we never created a super app for the people who go into creating that experience, right? And delivery is the core of it. There are a lot of services which fall part of it. But this app is actually intended to be a super app for the delivery partners. They can get, like I said, we've been through it before, but any category of work, any client, and very soon, a lot of payment services, payout services, things to do with their fuel management, options of vehicles they can drive. The app is intended to actually have a marketplace for even electric vehicles, right? You can choose. If you don't have a vehicle, you can select from it. You can let it go. You can upscale. So there are an array of services which the app has, and it's introducing from a delivery partner's perspective. So it's a super app for the delivery partner, not for the consumer.
Awesome. I think that about sums it up, and I think we just crossed time, but very, very insightful. Thanks, Praharsh, for all the insights, for all the inputs, and I hope our users had a good, interesting 30 minutes, and they were able to learn something about industry. And we'll be obviously very very alive with updates around what is happening, and as Praharsh said, how the super app shapes up over the 1 year, because there's a long distance to travel. So with that thought, I think we can close the talk. And again, thanks again to everyone who joined, and to Praharsh.
Thanks, Aniket. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day, good year, and keep looking forward to the insights that come in and the next launches. Like I said, the app is already interesting, and look out for more updates. It's going to become even more interesting. Awesome.
Yep. Thank you.